we'll see which map we're going to play on. So ban first, of course, 7 map pool, which means you ban, and then we're left with that decider in the end after those first 6. It's theme park first for a decider. Man, that's a very interesting map. I know I hate using the word, but it's a very interesting map in general to start off with, because we had Oregon played in other regions. I hope we get to see it more today. And theme park is definitely an underplayed map. Some teams like to play on it, but it seems like people are still unsure about it, guys. Is there any reason why?
Honestly, if you look at this on paper, like pre-map veto, I'm thinking Cyclops the favorite team. Historically, they've always come out ahead. Despite the last time these two teams played in the Pro League, Fav did manage to draw 1 map. But Theme Park is actually one of Fav's best maps, and they have performed really well on it recently, beating 3 Japanese teams in the Pro League last season. So a lot of positive performances to their name. And on the flip side, you look at CAG here, and they've banned it 4 times in the Pro League last season. And the only time I could find that they played it, they actually lost the map to Detonation. And that was a demolishing 7-1 loss to Detonation. So I'm really looking at this and thinking, man, Cyclops overall probably the better team, but Theme Park, that is dangerous territory to be taking Fav.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have it written down in my notes. Underneath Fav Gaming, might hope for Theme Park as it's been weak for Cyclops. And it really just, reflects on what you just said, James, where it's kind of like Cyclops, they have a really good pedigree. They have some really great results under their belt, but this is evidently a map that they haven't liked. And when you look at Theme Park for Fav, well, it's been banned by their opponent quite a few times, which suggests that it's plays to their strengths, and they've also won it when they've played it. So it's kind of leans in their favor. The question is, are they going to be able to keep that up and actually go against them when it really matters?
And that's the odd thing, because in the pick ban phase, Cyclops were the one that could decide which map they go to. So they opted for theme park. Now, when you see a lot of teams doing this, you expect that there's something hidden. And I frankly don't know what to expect, because I still think the map is unexplored compared to the staples of the competitive metagame.
The thing I'm seeing here with Cyclops is you mentioned they got to decide which one to go for, and they had the choice between Villa and Theme Park, and Villa has historically been fairly rough for them. In fact, they recently lost it in the Japanese Nationals to Yoshimoto, which is not a pervasive team, like not a very strong team. So, I mean, I think this is definitely a good opportunity for Fav.
Your predictions then for this, James?
I want to say Fav, but I'm hoping that CAG can really play into the roam game here on Theme Park and get a few strong dominant rounds on defense.
Your points, Gio? What do you go for this one?
I kind of want to give it to Fab purely because Cyclops are definitely a team where they play very similar compositions all the time. And if this is a map they're not particularly strong on anyway, then that kind of rigidity might work against them. So I'm going to throw it into the ring and say Fav, but you never know.
All right, so I guess it's time for us to get this game in go. We'll give it the go. Desechu and Hap, all yours. Game number 1, Cyclops versus Fav on Theme Park of all places.
Thank you very much, guys. And of course, welcome to APAC. As mentioned, this is the first game of the day. 6 more to come up for the day. And we're starting off with a banger here, Hap. And it feels like it's been a long time since you and I have cast together. So I'm more than ready for this one. Fav versus Cyclops on Theme Park. I think fair enough after yesterday saying a lot of teams aren't really leaning into it all that much. Oregon already starting to take a few more teams by fancy. But hey, I'm up for some Theme Park.
I'm definitely up for some Theme Park here as well. When I talked to, for example, Fnatic before, they said we do not expect Oregon and Theme Park to be played very often in the APAC North Division. But, well, we're going to get it for the first map already. So they were a bit wrong on that one. Let's see how it will play out, whether or not it's going to be Cyclops that will take the win, or if it's going to be Fav to, maybe upset one of the top 3 favorites.
Yeah, it's interesting because the last time these guys played was all the way back in January, where they played on Bank and Clubhouse. Cyclops came out and won 7-3 on Bank, of course no longer in the pool, and then Club was a 6-6 draw between these teams. So looking that far back, things are pretty balanced. And just a couple of weeks ago in the Japan National Season 1 tournament, both of them went out around the round of 16, I believe. Fav was the one that went out in the round of 16. Cyclops went out in the quarters. So both pretty close, I'd say, throughout the entirety of 2020. And this is the chance, in my mind, with Fav now having no 2 on side, or number 2, one of the big players that we were speaking about on the desk. He is the guy to keep an eye out for today. Thatcher and Maverick going to be the first 2 bans going away. It is starting to feel, Hap, like these 2 are now the staple on every single ban.
It definitely looks like it, it's starting to become the new meta indeed. Like the Thatcher already took his place, but now the Maverick is seeming to get removed more often than not. Of course, the Kali we saw yesterday on Oregon is a good replacement for these 2 to come in. So we might see some more play with that one coming out from Cyclops right now.
Interesting to see the Mozzie coming out at the very close of things as well. Maybe more of a target ban towards a member on the other side, or entirely down to the fact they just want to make sure they get more of these drones into the right places. We saw the rise of Mutant Mozzie when Mozzie was released, and the ability it gives you to block off 7 access points for drones. It makes it incredibly tough to get any kind of information, at least with one of those being taken away. The same way that we saw teams yesterday, I believe it was BDS banning away the Wamai, so we don't see the Jaeger-Wamai combo. Same sort of story today, but more focused around that drone denial aspect of the game. So
far, no Dokkaebi. Oh, we do see the Dokkaebi, but we do not see the Kali coming out. And we talked a little bit, about this beforehand. Maybe we would see a Dokkaebi ban to come in from either of these teams. Well, it didn't happen, and we see the Dokkaebi.
Attackers need to locate.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one if they're looking to play for their own game, right? It's the whole reason why you're seeing this combo coming out here, which is what we saw coming from, forget the team yesterday. I don't really make notes for EU and then bring it into an APAC broadcast, but there was a team that we saw running the Jackal and the Dokkaebi in combo. In fact, it was G2 versus Rogue. They were bringing this along to try and hunt down the roamer of Leon Gids in most cases and trying to shut him down before he could do much damage. We've had mixed effects. Some rounds they couldn't catch him, some rounds they could. And it feels like KAG are trying to do the same sort of thing here. They're trying to catch Fav and make sure they can't play in these aggressive roaming games. But looking at the lineup coming out of them, you're only going to be seeing Shin playing out on the roam. Otherwise, they have brought 4 C4s. I was so lost then trying to say 2 4s in a row. They have got 4 C4s on side, looking to play site-based operators with the Mute, the Warden, the Kaid, and the Bandit. This does scream to me that we're not going to see them trying to play too roam aggressive, but who knows? Maybe we see Afro going on a mad one a bit later on with Shin into the round. As it stands right now, that's exactly what he's trying to find. Welcome to APAC, boys. Be ready for the mechanical war that goes on in the early round as the teams will try and get frags to shut things down before they can even blossom into a strat.
And definitely so, and I'm thinking as the run out now is going to be coming out because the Repel has been hurt. That's the kill onto Anaton. That's the Jackal instantly gone. Just to start things off, but I was going to mention there's not that much vertical, if like completely no vertical destruction right there onto this current site right here as the second one comes in. Gadorana managed to take down Shin. Frey coming in, the trade onto, another kill actually coming in. Afro gets down. Overextend a little bit. Managed to get that one, but that's a very effective 2-in-1 trade right there.
Yep, Anaton and Gato are the ones the guys in the desk said to watch out for. You look back at the stats, it is exactly the same story. Those 2 had the highest KD for this team last season. There's no reason why you wouldn't expect it to continue here into the APAC North League. Now, Dokkaebi calls coming out. Well, not the calls, sorry, more the scan of the cameras. So they do have that access if so required. They're in a comfortable spot where they've dealt with the 2 roamers, it looks like here. Now they're looking more towards these site-based operators. So in my mind, a little more comfortable. And inside 60 seconds, Cyclops have got control of the map. Exactly what this comp was designed to do.
Yeah, true. However, there is still going to be 2 C4s available on the likes of Fav Gaming. And, well, as there is no vertical play, it's most likely going to be used to try and deny the hard breach of Cyclops. So, basically turns barrel and, what's it called? I believe service. They cannot really go there anymore, as the C4 can just easily fly over, get the kill. So this is the one that they will have to go for at the yellow stairs. Open that one up. Create yourself a long angle, but the Kaid Electro Cloud will be taking care of the exothermic, meaning that will remain closed for now. They can take it out from above though. They do have a vertical up there. And you got her able to go for a second try right there. Not sure if there's another electric claw available. It doesn't seem to be the case. Wall gets opened up. And Chloroform will be forced to fall back a bit.
Almost caught up by that grenade into the back corner as well, but not able to bring him down. And as you say, a wall is now open, so they are in a comfortable spot where they can start looking to act on the site. They've got over what has no doubt been the the defeat of many teams when playing in ranked or whether playing in competitive and trying to get those walls open, trying to force yourself through 2 single doors can be very, very risky. So taking vertical control and getting those walls open is always the main play. Again is going to find himself finding another kill in this round as no 2 strikes back. He is the player we need to watch out for because he was massive last season. C4 came out, but I believe shot out the air, not going to connect with anyone. And it's now him entirely by himself on the mute, trying to deal with this plank going down from Gator. It's a long road to the top, my friend, in this 1 versus 3.
Yeah, the chances are pretty, well, 0, as Suzu right there will be picking up that final kill onto number 2. Cyclops will be taking down round number 1. I kind of wanted to highlight the Warden earlier on, as you saw it being used against the Smok, so it was a good call to bring it. Unfortunately, not able to stop that final execute to come through. Maybe we get to see a little bit more of that as this match progresses, and maybe be a bit more effective than it just was.
Yeah, not the most solid start from Fav, but equally a very controlling comp coming out the other side. And as you can see, they made it work wonderfully. Now I'm going to go over to Lab and Storage, the old favorite, dare I say, of those who used to play old Theme Park. Not so much for competitive reasons, but because it was a hell of a lot of fun. We'll see how they can do with this one. We have seen some teams playing around this, and it all comes down to trying to take him from the above, take control of Cafe upstairs, start smashing the floor open, and in the areas that you can, because the whole thing isn't soft, mind you, but the areas that you can get into and start opening up, at least gives you some more of that vertical control. And that's the general theme that I think we see with these downstairs sites on Theme Park, right? On most maps where there is soft flooring, is vertical control is so pivotal to force the defenders to get moving around the site, to force them away from spots of comfort. And by trying to make them uncomfortable, you're hoping to try and find yourself a couple of kills as they run into someone else's line of sight that maybe you've opened up from above as well. So I appreciate that Fav are trying to play this roam game and are trying to catch these vertical players out from below, but as I saw in the last round, that just didn't quite come to light.
Definitely not. They had no clue. Gatorado already managed to enter from the top kitchen, and that's the first star for C there as well. Just making sure it shouldn't be mattering, of course, in the end. But like, it will definitely take away, like, you know, the indication of where you're being hit from. Slows down the communication just a little bit, and that allowed him to actually get that second kill as well. Potentially, I would like to say. Of course, we would never know. That's the exact reasoning. It was quick in it. Managed to get 2 and open up the complete, well, rest of the map for Cyclops, as there was no more roamers present.
So the big focus a second ago, as Medic wonderfully showed it on screen for us, or Medics. I would say Medic, but it's definitely Medics. Upstairs, a lot of holds coming in with the castle, coming up with deployable shields going up there. They have this wonderful line separating the middle of the map, built of reinforcements and the castle barricades. So they're trying to say, you want to challenge us upstairs? Be prepared to use a lot of utility to do so. As it stands, Cyclops are saying, we don't care. We're going to try and push directly inside the site here as well from the window. Black Ray's going to find himself the opening kill onto Node 2. That's a crucial loss because they were relying on this pulse for that vertical play.
Yeah, that's definitely not a great start right here off that round. Instantly losing out on that pulse. Number 2 as well, of course, a very powerful player in the likes of Fav. So far, not really able to make a mark yet into this game. And, well, Cyclops again got the advantage. Yes, they lost the opening frag last time around, but he instantly managed to turn it back around. And right now, the Jackal starting to do his work. The roamers are being pressured due to that. Soon you can expect the rest of Cyclops to actually, well, commit to them, try to take them out, open up the rest of the side again, and just go for that clean-up execute that we've seen them perform the last time around.
They are really trying to force them out here from playing down towards the bathroom, but just can't seem to get everything cleared out just yet. They spent a good 90 seconds playing outside of the site. They've ignored the upstairs, so I hate to see them do the same thing that we saw coming out of Rogue yesterday, where we see them commit 90 seconds towards one strat and then think, guys, this ain't working. Let's take this limited drone count and limited utility we have remaining and get ourselves rotating around. In this case, Suzuki is going to go big, or Suzuki was going to go massive. Fine tooth himself onto Shin and Taipon. So, not too bad for them upstairs. And as I say, the rotation has worked wonderfully. They've picked up quite a few here by the looks of it. It's down to one left by himself. It's a flawless round coming out from Cyclops. So although things look stalled for a good 30 seconds or so, wow. That's a great way to storm upstairs and completely upset the apple cart from where maybe Fav got a little bit too comfortable thinking, oh, there's no way they come upstairs this late. Guess what? Yes, they do.
Yeah, they just had 2 people sitting upstairs, just holding off these 2 roamers. They were basically stuck. There was nowhere they could really go. They couldn't come back to the site. And in the meantime, Suzuki just walked in and managed to take down 2 with his sidearm SMG on that Dokkaebi. With that right now, topping the board as well for Cyclops. But, well, as the Dokkaebi single-handedly dismantled the actual site, all that Anaton and Gatorada had to do was, you know, just hold the angles and moving in the end to clean it up and get that round. And that's exactly what they did right there. Cyclops currently 2-0 up. And Fav, they really need to start looking at what they can improve on to make sure that they get their first round in. Because, I mean, I hate to say it, but looking at the bends, I think it's a very defense-sided map like this.
It does make it tough. I mean, the Maverick is the go-to for any team that doesn't want to try and deal with all the electrification gadgets coming out, right? Like, it's just very easy to get walls open now, as long as you aren't as unfortunate as someone like a Mission, as we saw yesterday, being C4'd every single time he was focusing on getting a wall open. As long as there is cover from your team and they're provisioning your actual gadget to be able to do the job it's been employed to do, there aren't really too many problems. But with it being banned away and the Thatcher as well, as you say, it should slow things down a little bit and lead to some more last-second bursts coming in from the attackers, as long as the defenders are able to contest what the other side are doing. And as it stands right now, Fav are not able to do that. We're going to head ourselves upstairs, though, in towards the initiation site. So a bit of a change of scenery for the guys, deciding, you know what, playing downstairs with C4s hasn't really worked. We bought 4 C4s, we didn't find a single kill with them. Maybe it's time we try a little bit of a different tack. So instead they're going towards the Goyo and the smoke, playing out for these stall tactics. Still got Shin playing on the Bandit, mind you. He's been on Jaeger a couple of times recently. It was Taipano, I believe, back in round 1 was playing on the Bandit. At least he is here for some more of that denial to try and slow them down, because when you've got Thatcher and Maverick banned away, as we just discussed, it all makes sense to bring along some kind of electrification to give the enemy team something to think about. They're going to have to play vertically to try and remove the bandits from below, for example. So it just makes things a little bit slower for the attackers, or should do in theory.
Definitely true, but will it stop someone like Suzuki just walking in and gunning them down? Because that's kind of the issue as well. Like, they managed to stall for quite some time upstairs, but then due to just a madman walking into the site and just killing 2 or 3 people, basically completely dismantles that strategy as well. So they really need to, well, be passive about it, be smart about it, make sure they do not get the entry into the site to try and force things up. And it's going to be up to them to find out how to do that. That's a very, so this is a good breaching round being used right there. We'll be forcing out both those Bennett wires, allowing Alligator to open it up. Afro going to try and use his Warden right here to look through that smoke, hoping to pick someone up as they rotate through.
The problem playing on a Warden is you basically have to sit still the whole time. So you're like a turret that can't be moved, only you don't have a shield on your face like you would do if you were playing Janker. Nannerton is more than happily going to pick Afro up there and remove him from the field. Afro being one of the big fraggers for these guys last season, so maybe expecting a bit more in this game from him so far. He is sat at 0-3, hasn't been the most promising start for Fav to date. And as we saw earlier on, with the Ash getting below, as we mentioned, that's a different way of having to deal with these electrification gadgets from below, but it dealt with them very, very quickly. Shin's going to strike back and find one as Black Raven returns one the other way, and Gatorada elsewhere is going to find a kill. It's popping up all around the map, but it's still Cyclops who find themselves on top, coming out into a 4 versus 2, and the plant is now going down, Hap.
Yeah, plants indeed going down, and it means on a phone call as well, coming down from the Dokkaebi. Suzu will be picking up Typhon as a result. It's only up to Chloroform now, but going to know exactly where he's going to be coming from due to that sound cue going off. Is he going to check Cafe? Doesn't look like he will, and he will be picked up by the Ash, by Gatorada, and it's going to be Cyclops to win round number 3. And time again, like, it seems like, okay, Fav might be having an opportunity here. They're stalling quite some time, but then they just collapse onto the side. They manage to find themselves an entry, just force themselves through, basically, and just get that plant off and make sure that, well, they have to go for a retake.
What I love coming out of the side of Cyclops is it's very smart aggression, right? Like, I think historically, APAC kind of had a reputation around the world, perhaps wrongly, that it was nothing but aggression. It was like watching ranked but casted, which I think is a little bit unfair, because what you're seeing coming out of Cyclops today is very, very quick decision making. Maybe Fav aren't being risky enough in terms of how far they're putting themselves out and being willing to contest, but in every single round we've seen this Jackal and the Dokkaebi being brought out because the answer has been, well, call them, track them, it doesn't matter where they're playing, we kill them, and then we execute what we need to do to get the side open. Inside about 90 seconds there, they cleared out a map as large as Theme Park, got the Ash downstairs very comfortably without risk, and got rid of those bandit batteries. So they are getting rid of the blockers very, very quickly, and then going into the more aggressive playstyle that we know APAC for. So don't write it off as not being strategically based at all, or not having any thought process behind it. It very evidently does. And so far, Cyclops are the ones who are impacting it with a bit more pace and a little bit more aggression.
Definitely so. It's just Cyclops have those gunners to back up their strategy to, well, basically cut the pie and divide the side into 2 different areas. And with that, shutting out the roamers as well. So they read exactly how Fav set up, and they managed to just make the best out of that. Taking that they currently won 3 rounds out of 3 as well. So Cyclops really on top right here of this match. They're dictating the pace, and they're forcing Fav to adapt if they want to get some rounds in. Because, well, we do kind of really see the same lineup being brought time and time again on the likes of Cyclops, but that's due to the fact that it just simply works against this current Fav. We're struggling to find something, or a grip even, to hold on and get around in.
I mean, what I will say for these guys, right, is that there are two halves to every game of Siege, how I describe it. On every single broadcast I go to, there are two things people will learn about me. One, I'll always say, Siege is a game that no matter how strategical it is, if you don't hit your shots, you're going to lose. And two, there are two halves to every single game. We may yet see when Fav go on to attack, they feel a bit more comfortable. They're very, very good at roam clear. And maybe they are able to deal with the aggression coming out of the side of Cyclops. But when the pace is being determined by the attackers, in this case Cyclops, Fav are the ones who are struggling to keep trying to play this very reactive playstyle rather than being like preempting what's going to happen and choosing to set up around that instead. So a little more composure needed, I think. Maybe need to try and take control of the game. It's very, very tough to do against a team that has got a Dokkaebi and Jackal on, as we said quite a few times, and also a team where so far Gatto has got a kill, 4 of them so far across these rounds, and is on the Ash without dying even once. So he's just charging around once his team have done the prep work for him, causing a little bit of chaos in the backlines.
All right, 90 seconds have passed. Not a single casualty yet on either side. It's going to be setting us up for a very explosive end on this throne room take. Gonna have to open up the wall nonetheless, as that hasn't happened before. Grenades now being tossed in together with the flashbangs to make sure there's no ADSs there. They're looking to prepare themselves to get that exothermic in place, making sure it doesn't get impact tricked or whatsoever. Gotta be careful because Typhon is near and he could just as well throw over that C4, get a potential double kill. This should be the cue. The grenade coming out, C4 coming through. Is gonna be missing it, unfortunately. The wall will get opened up. That is gonna be the entry that Cyclops need to force themselves into the side and get that plan down soon.
Well, it has been opened up in, I won't say rapid time. It has taken them a good 2 minutes and 10 seconds to do so, but it is no easy feat getting these open. Now you can see them coming in black around the upstairs, and that is so crucial. Brilliant call out from someone downstairs on the drone to make that opening and get that kill for free. That puts things into a 5 versus 3, and Cyclops are not looking at slowing down, despite this being a return to a side that we saw previously. Shin is going to bite back at least and find a kill onto Blackray, but it's still putting us in a 4 versus 3, with the plant now going down from Irrigator down by the throne. Another C4 comes out and nothing connects. C4s have not been the order of the day for this side. They have missed every single one they've thrown out so far, and once again, the plant is down.
Indeed, and that means there's only 35 seconds left on the clock right now as Chloroform is being tagged quite low. There's a shield right there where they could potentially live through. It's one of the Goyos. So he's not going to be able to detonate that now. Nitro was being tossed in, I believe. Shin will be picking up 1 kill to start things off, bringing it back to a 2-2 situation. But, well, time is ticking. You only have about 10 seconds now to make sure it's going to be happening. Shin and Chloroform need to move in, and they will do so. With this, they will be able to get that defuse. Stick it as well. There's plenty of time, and it's going to be 3-1 right now as Pathfinder first.
I honestly didn't anticipate them being able to bring that back, given how the previous 3 rounds have gone, but Fav at least is instilling some faith here that they can take potentially a couple of rounds on the defensive side. Maybe not the go-to play, I think, for this side to try and play for a retake, but hey, if you can make it work and you can stick it out and get the round back, anything works. Going into round number 5, we do want to see them get at least 1 or 2 more rounds here on the defense, ideally. Sounds like a very obvious thing to say, and that's because it is. You don't want to be going into the second half of this on the attack, knowing that if you drop 2 rounds, you are done. That first round you lose puts you on edge, you are at match point, and there's nothing more to recover. So the more padding you can give yourself going into the second half of the map, the better.
All right. Well, Cyclops is going to be feeling pretty confident with the 3 rounds they already have in. Fav knows they have a lot of work to do to get themselves into a proper position to go into that second half. Of course, it's Team Park with these current bans that you're in, well, Maverick. You'd expect the 4-2 scoreline to be mandatory almost for the defense to get an opportunity of winning it. That's not going to be on the board anymore. It's going to be Cyclops that basically won this half already, even if they lose the next 2 rounds. It'll be up to Fav to make sure that they keep a cool head for as soon as they switch to go up to that attack half themselves. Maybe they have something up their sleeves that we don't know about yet that will help them greatly and immensely to attack the defenses of Cyclops.
Yeah, I mean, touching back on that last round for a second, you saw the replay come through where Shin got that quadra. In case you're not quite sure who Shin is, he played with Norengo all the way back in 2018, I believe, at the Paris Major. He was only on the team for a couple of months, and since then, like a lot of the teams, to be fair, if you go onto any site that kind of gives you the list of rosters of teams, you can see teams like Norengo have had a very, very rich history with a lot of players coming in and out. You do find, I think, in the Japanese scene that a lot of players will jump in and out. We'll see some that rise up, play for a few months, then step down and don't play again. Others that then move between 4 or 5 different teams. It is very, very flexible and fluid in terms of how things set up. So you can get a good mix of experience, and no doubt players that will have played together quite a few times before. Shin has been one of the names, I think, at the top of everyone's lips for quite a while now as one of the big players in the region. It's about consistency, I think, that we're going to need to see from him building up throughout the APAC League if we're going to see them deliver anything when it does come eventually to those playoffs against the South League as well.
Gatorada, again, going on that entry. Looking at some information. This clearing out. There he is right here. Mute Jammer will be taken care of right there yet again. Allowing Gator to open up if he wants to. Let that create a long angle again. Basically set themselves up to cut down that hallway rotation. We're going to do it though. Oh, there we go. It's happening for sure. Shin is not going to be able to respond to that yet, but will be pressured soon. Him and Afro most likely the first one to get into an active gunfight right here, as they are looking to play on contact, looking to play on a direct trade. Afro's going to get tagged up. Well, not tagged up. He's going to get spotted though, so they know exactly where he is. Right now, the other one, Shin, is also going to get spotted. So they're going to have to deal with the fact that Cyclops know exactly where they are. Gunning as they are, that might be a dangerous thing.
Oh, wild how seeing the change that's coming through here from Fav. They are trying to adapt and deal what's coming out of Cyclops, right? They bought the Bandit a number of times and have now thought, you know what? Didn't really work so well the previous time. Let's not bother. They have still got the mute on side, mind you, but that was dealt with from below once again by the side of Cyclops in record time. It's no longer taking them about 100 seconds. It's more cutting down to being about 70, so they are getting faster and faster with every single round. Now into a spot where there's 50 seconds left on the clock, and the opening kill has only just come through, so a little bit slower in this round than maybe you'd come to expect. But as we said earlier on, Cyclops very, very quick at getting their setup ready and then going for a big explosive execute in towards the end. Not really against the clock in the dying seconds, but more so in a spot where they know they're able to just go rushing in and find themselves to do a couple of kills. You've got Afro trying to play a bit of a flank here, but will not get in a good spot. Chloroform finds one as Suzu's been taken down. What more can they find at the back of this, though, is anybody's guess. It's going to be Gator getting another one, so Cyclops, once again, still in a commanding position. That C4's gone down from the side of Mute. Wasn't quite sure if it got used or not, but the plant, once again, is going down. These boys love their plants coming out, as this one should get stuck. It will get completed, and yet again, we find ourselves in another post-plant situation that Cyclops, as you would expect, are going to come out on top.
Cyclops has such a good read right here on this game. They know exactly what's being secure, what they can actually go for. Just keep on trying to get these blends in. Put that diffuser on site, put the time pressure on the actual defense, force them into making mistakes. It's working perfectly so far. They only lost one round, and well, there's one more to go for Fav to try and get an extra defensive round in. Give themselves a bit of a margin for as soon as they start to go over to the attack. But Cyclops, they're so commanding in this match, and well, Fav are just trying to follow, but I don't know if they can.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier on that Afro last season was the top fragger for this team. He was the one that really stepped up and kind of dragged them through, and I assumed with seeing number 2 being added in as well, the player you currently see on Smoke, given his success as the best fragger in the whole of the Japanese Pro League before, that maybe we'd see them standing up today as a duo and being willing to contest against the other side. In fact, in my notes I had down, how are they going to stack up against the duo coming in from Cyclops, and how can they contest against Anaton and Gato, who so far have been phenomenal. Together working into trying to hunt down these targets and isolate them. Can't take away from Suzuki either, he has been massive as well. The whole team just working as one very functional unit so far, and of course, the one time it feels absolutely justified to be saying this, you cannot ignore the support, because Gator every single time has got in there, got that plant down with apt cover from his team. Things have been looking very, very good for them as a fluid unit rather than a bunch of individual players running around and finding frags.
I mean, we are in round number 5 right now. We've had 5 plans so far. 3 of those coming from Gator, so he's definitely putting up the numbers right here. It also shows that Cyclops are determined to play that objective, to get that plan down and put that time pressure onto the defensive side of things. Well, Fav is kind of allowing them to get on side time and time again. There's not enough stall coming out. Like, the smoke is being picked, but haven't really seen that many smoke, like gas canisters being used. And that is something that they might be able to improve on for future match days. It's better to just toss them and don't hit anybody with it than to die with them. So, like, if you feel like you're getting pressured, instantly toss them down. You will waste some seconds. Like, right now, it just feels like they're picking it up, but they're not really using it. And that's like the issue maybe that Fav currently has in the current game that they're going up against Cyclops.
I mean, looking at the setup they got here, right? Like, I agree, but the one thing I'm looking at from the lineup in this round in particular is they are playing quite static. They've got that Warden, who, as we mentioned earlier on, plays quite like a turret. You don't need to be moving anywhere. You need to be using that gadget while stationary. You've got the Doc of Shin, who's going to be holding at a long angle somewhere, looking to pick someone off away from the site. You've got Typon, who probably is going to be sat playing behind a shield at some point. In this case, Shin's actually playing on site, so forget what I just said. But I would expect to see him holding a more aggressive angle as we see the side of Cyclops trying to get inside the building. But I think the awareness of the KB as well as the Jackal is kind of giving some worry as to what he might achieve with that. The only one you're really looking at to roam here and cause some damage is going to be Chloroform, but he's by himself. We've seen already how well Cyclops can deal with these roamers, so I'm just not convinced that it's going to be effective for them. We'll see, of course. You can see him holding out here a bit more in tow with someone else, but whether or not they can play as a duo to find any kills is an entirely different story.
And there we go. Gator picks Afro up. Now the exothermic is going to be coming right after. There's nothing to deny that. Chloroform is going to be put into a very bad position, really, as Gator just runs in, gets that kill. They knew exactly where he was. There's nothing could really go. Oh, another one coming in. Triple kill from Gator. Now wants to go for the actual plant. He's just keeping pressing the either the F button or that left mouse button. Something will happen on the other side of things. Planter went down again. That's 6 out of 6 rounds, but he got that diffuser down in Black Ray to finish it off. Another flawless round for Cyclops into a very, very, well, convincing first half of them.
Very convincing, and for all I said about the support saying, oh, his team are fragging out around him and he's the one charging him, finding all these plants, for him to then step up and go, you know what, Des, I'll contest that point. I'll be the one finding the kills this round, and walks up with a triple kill. It was a Pengu-esque moment from what we saw when he planted inside of Aviator yesterday. Pulls up off the plant, sprays someone in the head, gets straight back down on the plant again. Wonderfully play coming out of them there, and now they get to switch over to the other side. The whole team has turned up today, and on the other side, looking at Afro, looking at Typon, and nothing so far. It has been a very, very quiet day at the office for these boys.
All right. Fav, do you have something up your sleeves that you can use here? Do you have a trick for us? Some secrets you can show to make sure you take this first match against Cyclops into a either draw or a win for yourselves. You gotta show up now. You cannot afford a single mistake anymore. Well, okay, there is no draws, of
What
course.
is this? I'm looking at the lineup coming out on the defensive side, right? Like, there's no electrification. There's not really anything that says I'm playing on site. I imagine what you're going to see them try and do is rely... I was going to say the mute is the only thing they're relying on here, so put the gadgets down and then get off site. But you've got a Capcan looking to slow them down on their entry into the building. You've got Vigil looking to cause some trouble elsewhere. Ella, who can essentially lock herself into an area of the map with those Grismots to cause some trouble. And then you've also got the Jaeger at the same time on the road. Like, I imagine we're genuinely going to see 3 or 4 players running off site here, looking to cause some trouble against Fav as they even try to get in the building. That just screams how confident they feel right now.
Definitely so. Like, they might even be playing one guy on site and all the other people are going to be off site. Well, so far no one is on site yet. So like, if they realistically just be walking through the front door, really. It's going to be a big roam to come through. They're looking to bring the gunfights everywhere but the actual site. Is it just the Vigil on site? All right.
What a world when the guy that you want to be roaming, you can't be picked up by drones, is the one off on site. Love it.
Oh, beautiful. All right, well, it looks like the cafe entry is going to be coming through. Suzu is going to get droned out, but we'll be able to rotate downstairs just in time before being picked up by Shin. He's making himself some rotations. That is definitely going to be heard. Only Suzu that is going to be aware of the current state of affairs and knows where they are. C4 being tossed in. No effect as of yet. Grenades were being tossed back, I believe, by Shin. So we got 2 explosive pieces of utility used and not a single point of damage done as of yet. As suppressors on the Ash seem to be a threat here in APAC.
The mute playing upstairs in the room here. As I said, it's a bit interesting to see him dropping the gadgets down and getting off site. You've got the Vigil, the Capcan playing on site. Those traps have been deployed. If nothing else, just to slow down the attackers in their aggression, right? The whole reason being that when you see a single Capcan trap, you know there are a bunch more waiting around the map for you, and you need to deal with those before you can go charging around in the later stages of the round. It's all about running that clock down. We're already 90 seconds in, and yes, they've managed to get control of most of the upstairs of the map, but still got to deal, I think, with the 1 or 2 members that are lurking up here and looking to cause a bit of trouble as they start setting up for a downstairs take.
You know, the issue here is we're playing in throne room. There's basically no vertical play you can use from top, so yes, you just took top floor control and 2 minutes have passed, but you're really not anywhere as of yet. You still need to go down. You still need to open up these walls, and well, if you don't get to do that anytime soon, you're going to have a really hard time actually getting into the side. And well, the fact is, there is still going to be 4 roamers around to make sure you do not get control of those 3 walls that, well, you might want to open one of. Drones right there will be giving out some spots, but is it going to be enough information for Fav to actually make something happen with it? Because if you're looking at it, Cyclops is just playing on contact. They're like not directly next to each other, but they're definitely able to go and refrag one another as soon as they get in trouble. Spots coming through this time though. They can finally start responding. Afro managed to pick up the kill onto Gator. That's going to be the ally gone, and with 30 seconds left, it's going to be a second one as Afro will be put down to 1 HP, but it's still alive, still a gun you can use, and we want to open up right now. Is that going to be working out? Grenade should be taking care of that. Yes, it will. 17 seconds left. His execute will be forced through this one hole they have right now. Flashbangs right there to lead it in, but it's going to be Anaton that will have to stop it. Drops down the diffuser with 8 seconds left. Is not going to get the second one. Shin will have to go for the defuse now. Is it going to be Susan to stop it? No, it's not. Afro is there for the cover indeed. It's going to be Gatorade. Is he going to be able to stop it? We'll be getting one. The diffuser gone down though in the meantime. That means there's going to be 40 seconds for him to try and play it out, but it's not going to be happening. Fav will be picking this one up as well. There was just no one on site except for that one player. It's kind of hard to hold off the 4 of Fav as they all come bursting through that door. That is a learning moment for Cyclops right there. Don't have 4 roamers.
It's one of them again where it turns over to the second half and Afro just turns up, right? 3 kills in a single round despite having an absolute drought in the first half of the map. And maybe again, this harks back to what I said earlier on. You look and say, well, teams on the attack determine the pace. Defenders tend to determine where the action happens, but it's always the attackers that determine what the pace is. And these teams will probably find themselves with a bit more comfort when they are the ones in that commanding position and aren't the ones having to react to what the other side is doing, that they can do things like Fav just did. It wasn't that Cyclops didn't try as well. They did try and get up in their face and try and cause some trouble. Just so happened that Afro was quite calm and composed, and when he did have someone charging at his face with a shotgun or SMG in their hands, he was able to pick up the kill and proceed from there.
5-2 current scoreline. First round on the attack from Fav has been won. As you can see here, Anaton able to pick up 1. Oh, but afterwards wasn't the same angle, so just a quick pre-fire of Shin enough to actually get that kill. Turned into a 1-on-1, but Shin was able to win that one, so he got real close there. Cyclops almost able to bring it back, even though they lost complete site control in the last 20 seconds, but just not managed to do that.
A very similar thing here, just looking at the Kaid is kind of the swap out that they have made. Trying to play maybe more around the site, stick those 2 on there and send the other 2 off on a roam, keep the cap can on site, which I think is fair. You've had your round of fun, like you say, maybe it is time to draw back from having 3 or 4 members off on the roam. It was only 3 they had playing upstairs for the most part, but they lost sight a little bit too easily there once they managed to get the wall open, as you'd probably come to expect when there are 5 versus 2 going on downstairs. Let's see though if this Cat Can make some more impact in this round. Again, the impact that you get from the Cat Can isn't really down to the kills that he's finding or how much damage he's doing with the traps. It's the fact that he is present. It's the fear of presence, dare I say. The same reason why you might smash open a window on any other map or even on this map and just make people think, well, someone could appear at that window. We don't yet know, so we've got to make sure we're keeping at least half an eye on it. So that's maybe the reason why they're bringing him along so much.
Definitely. Yes, if someone walks through it due to like last second pushes, if you manage to stall them long enough, there's not going to be enough time to actually check those last couple of doors for those actual Capcan traps. You might get it down, you might get some, well, plenty enough of damage in, so it's easier to get that final kill in. That's kind of like how the Capcan can come into play as well. It really depends on whether or not you're going to be placing him far off-site, which is then going to be used to try and catch them off guard and waste some time right after, or when you're placing them close on-site just to hope and help you when the final execute comes through by dealing some extra damage and maybe applying a shock factor to the players who just, you know, might get a bit like upset about the fact they just got hit by that Capcan trap. C4 being tossed in, not going to be able to hit, as they kept their range right there. Get her out in the meantime, a little bit low, but nothing to worry about as of yet.
There's 3 of them at Cash and watching the window at the top of Dragonlight. Of defenders, this is mind you, so there are still 3 roaming. Also got 1 or 2 trying to get themselves set up on this wall, same as last time, and in about a minute faster. We are going to have Fav starting to get themselves set up on a wall, but it's kind of a game of freeze, nobody move, right? Everyone's holding certain angles and pointing guns at each other, but no one's actually pulling the trigger and getting any kills off it just yet. As I say that, Gatto's trying to go for a run out, and Apro's going to gas him down and find one almost a second through the hatch, but not quite the case. Either way, it's a small advantage for Fav here with the wall open and the opening kill in their favor.
Anaton being forced out of his position now, a little bit barbecued right there to come through. Afro picks up a kill, Chloroform follows up as well. It's only going to be the 2 side players left for these last 50 seconds to try and force, well, Fav to stay and keep them out of the sight. Smoke's now coming in to hold off all these angles to come through. 1 kill, no, not even a single one. It's a flawless round for Fav to come through in the end. Onto the throne room. They were earlier on opening up this wall, gave them some extra time to make sure they... That Capcan right there, he almost went unnoticed, but they had extra time right now to clear it out properly because they had the wall open up, allowed them to go for a bit more of a concise execute in the end.
I know somewhere Jess is cringing, right? She's sat there now trying to analyze this and break it down and just go, how are they giving this away? Like, what is going on? Because there's only 4 people playing around site, actually playing for the objective. The other 6 are playing up towards cash, the other end of the map, trying to frag each other. I don't get it why within the 60 seconds left, we're seeing runouts coming through, we're still seeing players outside of the map, for example. It's really interesting how there is such a little focus on the objective itself, except for small components of each team. So I want to see here, ideally, Cyclops just settle things down a little bit here. Stop trying to play so aggressive. Yes, by all means, send players out on their own, but look to play around site a little bit more. Maybe play around some intel. This is the first time we're seeing a Valkyrie being brought along, for example. Then just look to calm things down a bit.
It's fun how we say there's like little regard to the objective, yet it has been like planted 7 times out of 8 rounds we've had. So they keep on getting the actual side, and they keep on getting that plan. But as you say, that's probably due to the fact there's only like 1 or 2 defenders on the side, and then everybody is somewhere else, making it easier, of course, to enter that side, get that plan down eventually. But well, 5-3, and that means it's not over yet. Fav has the opportunity to get that comeback rolling. And Cyclops seems to be struggling, especially in the Armory throne room.
Attackers are heading out
Does
to the
decide to
defuse the
swap out up to the drug and lab storage room, hoping that they can maybe change the pace and get that 1 round in that will make them feel a bit more confident going into the rest of this map.
As maybe as optimistic as I was, I can still see a lot of setup going on upstairs right now. Opposite again, complete side of the map. It's upstairs and the other end of the map entirely from where the side is going to be. So I think we're going to see maybe again 3 members trying to play in the roam here to try and meet Fav as they come into the building from the east. That's all well and good in that you might assume a team will start on the other end of the map and sweep their way across, clearing out roamers as they go. It hasn't really been the case so far again, where there's been these kind of weird splits between the teams where a couple are focused on the objective and a couple aren't. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see at least if we can see them rotate back to site a little bit quicker here if we do see another aggressive push coming in from Fav, because last time round it was a bit too easy, and as I say that, they are straight inside the site. Is there anything they can do here to catch them out? I'd hope to see members rotating down, but they did not account for 2 members getting inside this quickly, and once again Fav have stormed their way through. Time and time again, I found myself asking questions, same as I did last round, is why aren't things changing up? It's the same thing time and time again. Fav get the plant down. It's a 4 versus 1. I don't see a way in how Gatto can save this one outside of some heroical play, but nope, it's Chloroform from behind, finding that closing kill. Fav still keep themselves in it here. It's incredible how Cyclops are giving this one away.
Yeah, but like, I was thinking, like, they went through the bathroom, but there was a player in the bathroom the entire time. So they just walked past him. I believe the smoke was playing in bathroom. He just smoked it off, and like the 2 or 3 players of Fav, they just ran through. And they got side control and they killed him. And Black Ray could not, like, he didn't peek or anything, but he was playing in that bathroom right there, I believe. So I'm kind of confused as how we let them go through and how they suddenly had side control without him actually responding to it as soon as he realized. We might have that in replay in a bit, but I'm kind of confused.
I don't know, man. Like, as soon as you start seeing utility being dedicated to site, surely the call comes in, guys, okay, actually we are seeing grenades being thrown, they're smoking things out, can we get someone coming back? And the fact that you let 2 get inside a toilet and storm their way into site, I was just like, surely
there is a player in there.
Surely someone comes to help, right? But no, like, I just don't get it. Behind a shield nonetheless as well, that's the biggest problem. They didn't remove the shield, they still managed to kill the guy behind it. It's scrappy, right? It's the way things are shaped up so far in this half. We are definitely seeing this game of 2 halves as we came to expect. Cyclops are in real danger here, potentially giving this one away if they don't shape things up in these last couple of rounds.
Like, the thing is, right, since Cyclops was on the attack, I said, well, Fav Gaming literally doesn't seem to be able to respond to whatever Cyclops is bringing, because we kept on getting, like, close to flawless round after close to flawless round, and well, it's completely turned around now. It's just Fav bringing the pure aggression and Cyclops not being ready for it. Maybe due to their, well, somewhat heavy kind of roam setup they keep on running every single time. At least they're just not ready for the site to be rushed like Fav is, well, did last round.
Yeah, it's... Right. let's give him the third time lucky, right? Third time lucky that there'll be more site players here, drawing things together a little bit more and maybe not trying to play so aggressively. We see Fav starting to square up mainly off towards the east here, looking to take over that side of the map, inside Cash, and do a sweep across to the west. That much has been established so far. The best question is where the next two are coming from here, so they can look to adapt to that as well. Looks like one's maybe looking towards the cafe side of things, so they know there's a bit of a split coming in. And this is ideally where we start seeing some adaptation coming in from the other side. An attempted C4 comes out, and to be fair, wasn't miles away from the target, but doesn't quite connect in the way they would have hoped. Nice camera, by the way.
Yeah, definitely a good camera right there. It's going to be giving away a lot of information. I believe someone else came rappelling down right there, so they're going to be aware of the fact that there's going to be two players right now in front of that door. Still has a C4 available, so if he manages to get that far enough in, might be able to pick up a double. But of course, he's going to get droned out by number 2, but he has to be careful now as he is, well, being hot droned and fails to deal with that drone that is chasing him. He's going to be hunted down surely. As right now, Afro is ready to actually get that refrag. Expect where he's going to be coming from. Deals a lot of damage. Eventually gets that kill. That's going to be the Valkyrie of Cyclops taken out. And yet again, the entry to go for Fav right here, allowing them to get a little bit of extra space when they finally want to go for the execute.
About 80 seconds left. There is time still to play here for Fav as well. On the side of Cyclops, definitely haven't gone and found themselves all dead. They are playing a bit more passively, as you can tell. Taking a bit of time on the east side here. My biggest concern is they've spent about a minute and a half here so far, getting themselves set up and actually looking for the push to come in. Maybe they were waiting for some kind of activation on the other side of the map to justify a push in. However, it's still going to be Fav finding the kills here. It's going to be one traded back by Aniton at least. A good lie-down shot coming out there onto Notu. Will send him into good night as well. But it's Typon stepping up big. 3 kills for him in 1 round after finding only 1 in the rest of the map. These are the kind of rounds that players are made for when they can save things up for the team entirely by themselves.
Yeah, as soon as the round seems to be going the other way around, you always have like one of these like players in your team that just steps it up and manages to at least keep it a little bit balanced. And things right here, that's unlucky, jumping over Typon, taken out by Gator right there. Refrag attempt coming in right here from Afro. Not able to find it as of yet. Chloroform, however, is going to get taken out by Gator. And then Black Ray comes from the back. It's Cyclops that will be winning that round. As they go for some 2 quick peeks coming through right there. With that, they will secure their 6th. And they're only 1 away from winning this. But you got to keep in mind, there is overtime in APAC.
There is. It may yet go that way. It's looking like Fav still, with the momentum behind them, should be able to bring this one back, but it is still only 1 round. I mentioned this earlier on. It comes down to those 1 or 2 rounds of pressure that, you know, if you slip even once, you have literally 1 more chance to get it right, or else you are done and the map is over. It could well boil down to go that way. Going to find ourselves going into Armory and Throne for this potentially final defense on the side of Cyclops. You see the utility still returning in the form of the intel coming out of the Valkyrie, even seeing a Legion being brought along here, which to me makes sense. Anything that can slow the attackers down would be nice. That is going to change away last second, though. Instead, go over to being the Bandit, and we're seeing the Vigil return once more. So potentially another pretty aggressive roam strat coming out of these boys on this site.
All right, so we're going to get the Bandit and the Mute available. Now, this could mean the Mute is going to be there to assist the roam, make sure the drones are not going to be as effective as they were last round, because to be honest, that hot drone that came in on Gatorada was definitely not received well by Cyclops, as they lost a player early due to that. So, you know, maybe that Mute is going to be able to assist a little bit, whilst the Bandit is going to be making sure that those walls remain closed. As you can see right here in the round breakdown, only 1 round was won due to the diffuser running out. Actually, it was a defuser, the diffuser, I believe. Even though in basically every single round but 1, the diffuser got planted. It mainly came down to kills in the end due to the retake situations.
I'm a fan of the vertical player thing, getting themselves in a good spot to make use of it, right? And they are in a spot to do so. They've got the Buck and they have the Sledge on side here. Buck, of course, losing his grenades recently. Rip Buck. Still useful for that vertical destruction from above or below. A bit more versatile, you'd argue, than maybe Sledges, until you account for the fact that grenades are a very real thing in this game that are very much so sought after. So I would expect to see them get the north side control maybe of Armory here. Try and look to get that north wall open and try and go for a plant on that side of things, because that north side of the ceiling is entirely soft. Down south, it can be a little bit harder to get that opened up. As if you go just above north of A medic, you will see that whole soft floor through the main kind of entryway, and that's the kind of ground that I'm talking about them trying to get opened up. Thank you very much.
All right, Cyclops, are you going to be able to get that last round in, and with that, take your first win in the season? Putting you up on the top part of things. The grenade there being tossed in. If it was going through the hatch, it would have been the kill to get a rudder, but instead they turned to go for, well, instead it was on the other side of things. Didn't manage to get the kill due to that. And, well, just a small amount of damage done onto that Valkyrie. Wonder if they got any information out of that grenade.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Would have been ideal, of course, if they heard a little scream or something like that, just to make sure. If it was Castle, we knew for sure it was going to be a scream to come down. But are they going to be opening up this wall? And how soon are they going to be opening up this wall? Going to open up.
Oh, another shot C4. That's 2 in 1 map.
I had a heart attack there. Oh, I thought it was going to be it, but it's going to be waiting for a potential grenade to come through just to make sure that the Bennett wires are going to be destroyed. As soon as that comes through, they're going to be able to open up that wall. First, they're going to have to make sure there's no more ADSs on the other side of things. It might cost them some time, but there's only 60 seconds left, so they really got to get a move on right now, Des.
It's feeling very much like the last round as well, where it's all about the play around the site itself rather than actually in it for the side of Cyclops. But they have done a really good job of keeping hold of the north corridor. So actually, no, there won't be any vertical play upstairs. They're going to have to focus again entirely on playing downstairs. And there is a little bit of cover being provided by Afro around there, but nothing incredible. You've got No 2 playing downstairs as well, just behind them, so there is a very heavy focus towards this east side. This is where that call should come through. They're going to push through here. We need some guns on. And you can already see 4 people have got crossfires set up onto that single breach we got opened up a second ago. If they do try and push through here, it's a simple case of Cyclops of doing what they have done in the entirety of the first half of the map. It's about winning the gunfights.
Yeah, definitely so, and this is the big difference here. Currently, there's 4 people on side of the likes of Cyclops instead of the just 1 they had before. Chloroform will be starting things off, though, by taking down Anaton. Typhon managed to move in. Chloroform gets a second, and Afro picks up 1 as well. And suddenly, it's the completed Fav just snapping their fingers, getting a flawless round in there at the last very seconds. And with that, they will secure that round and make sure that we might be going to overtime as we're heading into round 12. This is the last time around that Cyclops is going to be able to get that match point in right now. Otherwise, we are going to OT. And things might get a bit more different, a bit more hard for them. As Fav has the more equal ground after that.
Said it in the very first half. It really doesn't matter if you have the best setup in the world or the best strat or you've got 4 guns all pointing at a single breach hole. If you don't hit your shots, you are going to lose. But it was very, very lightning quick execution coming out of Fav there, where they have players bursting in from the west, in through Dragon Door, and also through the breach inside of maintenance. So they had the coordination there themselves, and it is good that we're seeing this kind of rapid gameplay that has defined the region for so long actually coming into some form here, where we are seeing a bit of timeliness coming out of both sides. It's just a bit crazy that literally 5 seconds prior, it looked like the setup was perfect coming out of Cyclops, and they definitely had this game in the bag, only for Fav to swing around and pull out something like that. We are at match point still. If Fav win this one, like you say, heaven knows which way it can really go. It's so difficult to call these rounds given how they've all gone so far. If you were looking at the attacking side favor, we've seen, I believe, 2 attacking round wins. Sorry, 2 defensive round wins. Everything else has gone the way of the attackers. Go figure.
It's kind of weird knowing that Team Park, of course, one of the newest additions, not the newest anymore, due to Oregon being re-added, often means that it's very defense-sided, especially if you look at the way that the bans have went as.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, we mentioned this earlier on with the whole Thatcher and the Maverick piece, right? Is that it should slow things down, but these teams are saying, attacking bans,
just walk in,
good
dude.
joke. Exactly, right? Just walk in and click on the heads, bro. That's all it takes, and that's all they've had to do so far. I mean, admittedly, there hasn't been much in the way of like gadget removal either, right? Like in EU or NA, you see quite a bit of Zofia coming out, for example, to deal with evil eyes, deal with shields being deployed. There hasn't been a massive amount of requirement made by the defenders in terms of utility to deal with. And I don't know if this comes down to the fact that they are just so insistent on playing a very aggressive defensive style and trying to play off site and cause trouble. But there is a much lower focus on utility in this region already compared to what we saw yesterday.
The thing is, right, we have seen Goyo, we have seen the likes of Smoke, but they were playing not on side, they were playing like on the other side of the map, really. So
they had the Goyo on side, right? Because that shield was set up down inside of drugs,
they had
storage.
the shield on there, but no one was playing it. So like,
yeah, well, no, someone was, but they just ran around the shield and killed someone. I was like, okay, forget about destroying it then, I guess.
But as well, like the Goyo shield, they put it actually to like the south wall of Throne to detonate it. No one is going to be able to do that as soon as you lose that control. Like, it would have been better to just flip it around like 90 degrees and be able to actually shoot it from the back side on that bakery kind of thing, you know, with the oven. Like, they play it, they don't seem to utilize it well, and they don't seem to be playing around those shields, for example. So, like, there is no need really to bring that Sophia, because if you can just jump in and get those kills, as you see right here, 4 people of Fav just moving through, but it's going to be Black right here with a C4 to follow up. That's going to be a guaranteed kill indeed, and it seems to be indeed a double kill. It's only up to Chloroform now to try and solve this issue that has just arisen due to the fact that Black Ray this time managed to find out what the plan of Fav was and managed to counter perfectly. First the spray with the SMG, then a double kill with the C4. Leaves it all up to the Buck right here to try and find 4 more kills if he wants to be able to get this round in and force them to go to overtime, but I doubt it's going to be happening. Gives away his position now by shooting. And that is going to be putting all guns into that same direction. Opening coming through, and there's the wallbang to finish it off. It's Gatorada with the last kill. And it's Cyclops that win it 7-5, just barely. But a very aggressive match we've seen so far.
Very, very aggressive match. Like, the number of kills flying in before the 90-second mark was ridiculous on both attacking sides, but that comes down to the very aggressive roam style that we've seen both teams employing so far, and I honestly think that if things carry on like this, we are going to be hard-pressed to see any big strats coming out of teams in future. Like I mentioned, a very low focus on the amount of utility being deployed by both sides did lead to a very aggressive game where we only saw Valkyrie, I think, for 4 or 5 rounds there in the second half. The first one, very little actually came to the fore. There were a couple of shields being used, but that was about it for the most part. Either way, good gun skill being shown by both sides. I'll give them that much, but I think I'd like to see more flexibility between rounds rather than constantly dedicating 3 of your defenders to go on the roam. When it isn't working 2-3 rounds in a row, maybe look to play more on site a little bit.
Well, it didn't work for 9 out of 12 rounds, really, putting up those roamers for either team. They had struggles on the defense, and we saw a lot of plans to come down. I think that kind of marks this match. A lot of plans and a lot of kills, but let's see what the analysts and Gassan think of that.